they came into Lilavati just because of cough, cold, and fever. And when we did the blood test, just as a routine, it turns out that he had all three cell lines. Overnight, everything changed for the family. We diagnose 50,000 new cases of cancer in India every year. A lot of them are undiagnosed.
Yeah.
In 1960s, it was uniformly fatal.
Okay.
Childhood leukemia.
Okay. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Breaking It Down. Today's segment is all about the medical and emotional aspects of childhood cancer. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Breaking It Down. Today's episode is a rather special one because we are in Gold September, a month that's dedicated purely to childhood cancer awareness. And to share some amazing insights, great deal of information, and first hand experience in the field, we have on board Dr. Swati Kanakya. Now, she is a pediatric hematologist and oncologist based here in Mumbai, and she has touched the lives of many, many children and their family, mine being one of them. So it's almost like an honor to be sitting across here and having this conversation. Today's episode is all about the medical and emotional aspects of childhood cancer, and this is an episode I've been waiting for a while to film with her. She's my fairy godmother, so I think we should just hop right into the episode. So, hi, Dr. Swati, how are you today?
I am very well. And what can I say? I'm not thrilled, I'm not delighted, but I'm very grateful to be sitting here across you. So, as you mentioned, I have known you since you were what, 3.5?
Yeah, all my life,
And,
I think.
and I followed you assiduously. And the moment you put anything on Instagram or YouTube, like you have one viewer. So very delighted. Yeah.
We always refer to you as my second mom. Like, we just know that's the case.
Thanks so much. Thanks.
So, I want to start off with a question that over the years, I think I've always wanted to ask you.
Bolo.
Okay. So, have you seen the movie Munna Bhai?
Yes.
The first one.
Yes, yes.
So, usme there is Boman Irani who plays the role of Dr. Asthana.
Right.
And there is this dialogue that he says कि अपने patient से कभी प्यार मत करो. ठीक है? But you work in a field that is so sensitive and you're dealing with children every day. So, how true does that sound to you? And do you consciously make an effort to not get attached to your patients?
So for me, that's not possible
Okay.
because I love children. And when I see them there, the only thing I want to do is to help them. I just want to see them smile and I want them to play like all other kids,
Yeah.
So I can't follow Dr. Astana because I'm Dr. Kanakya. I follow my own path. I follow my own heart.
Yeah, I think, and that's what the best part about you was that it never felt like just a professional relation. It almost felt like we had like a constant support through the entire journey. So I think that's
Thanks.
your best quality. But does that affect you negatively sometimes? Because I know that the field is such.
Yeah, it does. It can be very, very painful and very stressful and a whole roller coaster of emotions. But I've survived this long. And my patients and my kid, they've survived as well. So, yeah, I'm
That's
quite happy about it. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. So, when I have this conversation with a lot of my friends and even people who are older than me, people feel like cancer is something that happens to you much later in life. It's an adult disease. I want to know from you, how common is cancer in children today?
So, this is a myth actually that it's an adult disease. And we see a lot of childhood cancers. In fact, based on numbers, we diagnose 50,000 new cases of cancer in India every year. So, and I suspect a lot of them are undiagnosed.
Yeah.
So, we see there are plenty.
Okay. So then in that case, I've had this conversation with my mom, And I asked her, how did you ever decide that you want to go further and get all your checkups done when it was happening to me? And she said, I just figured that you used to sleep a lot. So I feel like the symptoms are not even as evident in children, given that they're not as vocal or they don't understand as much. So what are the early signs of cancer in children that parents can sort of look out for?
So, the first thing is, of course, as you said, your mom noticed that this was something different. It was different from a common cough, cold, fever. But however, every time you don't get all that, okay?
Okay.
So, the recent patient that I have, he's barely, 2 years of age, and they came into Lilavati just because of cough, cold, and fever and a viral infection. So nothing, everything was all right before that, okay?
Okay.
He had some oral ulcers, and when we did the blood test, just as a routine, it turns out that he had all three cell lines. That means he had anemia, he had low platelets, and he had a low WBC. And so it was almost like overnight, everything changed for the family. I'll tell you, there are two ways. So, in corporate hospitals and in, let us say, aware parents, they tend to go to the doctor earlier. They tend to get blood tests sooner. Whereas in the lower socioeconomic strata, or maybe parents who are not that aware, they won't go to the doctor
Right.
that quickly. So the earliest sign could be fever, which is so ubiquitous, so common.
Yeah.
Or it could be a headache, vomiting, a recently acquired squint. That means the child is not, they don't look straight. And suddenly you find that one eye is looking this side, one eye is looking that side.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the earliest sign of a brain tumor. When you take pictures, nowadays the cameras are good. Otherwise, you would have a red eye. You know, a
Okay.
red eye
Yeah, yeah,
reflex
yes.
when you take a picture.
Right.
So sometimes that red eye reflex becomes white or gray
Oh.
in a small child. Then you know that it is an eye cancer. There are lymph nodes. Um, these are little masses all across the body. In the abdomen, there may be a swelling. Sometimes it's the grandmother or the helper who notices while giving the child a bath that there is a mass in the abdomen.
Right.
Sometimes it's like leg pain, growing pains. You know, it's a very common thing. अरे पैर दुखता है तो it is okay.
Yeah.
But if the leg ache or पैर दुखना is severe, the child gets up at night or is not able to walk, then there is something wrong. You cannot call it a growing pain and kind of get done with it. Yeah, we've had rare cases of itching all over the body. And then when a CBC is done, you realize that there is something wrong. So I always say that you should be a star. Star as in S stands for suspect. Suspect that and even think that a child can also have cancer.
Right.
T is for testing. Test early. Get a CBC done. Get small basic tests which are done. That will at least guide you. ठीक है. A is to act. Act fast. Refer the child to a center of excellence so that adequate steps can be taken early. And R is for doctors that we reassure the parents that no, this is going to be all right because childhood cancers are very curable. And the sooner you pick them up, the better is the outcome.
So, because most of these symptoms are almost normal,
Yeah.
so how soon should you act on it? Like you said, if let's say my child is just showing some normal signs of, let's say, cough, cold, fever, should I automatically assume in the first go that could this be?
No.
How soon do you kind of decide that okay, there could be something wrong?
So it's never just one thing. It is a constellation.
Right.
It's everything together. So like let's say, your mom said that she's sleeping too much. Even
Yeah.
for a fever, maybe she's sleeping too much. So along with the fever, you have lymph nodes. or a fever which is not responding to antibiotics, is
Okay.
not like, you say viral fever, 4 days, 5 days, and that should be the end of it.
Okay.
It's not going after that. It's not going after medications. Get a CPC done. There's no harm. There is no
Right.
harm.
And how different is cancer in children versus cancer in adults in terms of treatment and recovery and anything else that is involved in the process?
Okay. So, generally, we say that cancer is an adult disease, okay?
Right.
But no, we know very certainly that it happens in children. Second thing is, adult cancers are by and large lifestyle related. That means smoking, alcohol, uh, different other, lifestyle changes that we have acquired over so many years of
Yeah.
evolution, I can say. But that's not the case with childhood cancers. These are genetic mutations which are, which the child acquires or is born with. And that's how most childhood cancers are actually because of these mutations. Sometimes it can be, it's actually not true, but very rarely you could associate it with ionizing radiations, exposure to X-rays, CT scans, but it's not that common. Okay.
Okay.
Secondhand smoke from the parents or from the caretakers. So these are just some, but mainly it's a biological accident.
Okay.
That mutation is a biological accident.
Okay.
So my grandmother, like we should be very, very old. So if you asked her, so she would say, "Nasib, mita nasib che." So then, so many 100 years later, now also, my parents ask me, I mean, the parents of the children ask me that why my child? So why did the mutation happen in your child? Biological accident is what I like to say. It's just luck by chance, whatever fate, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it.
And is there a correlation between, let's say, a set of parents have cancer in their old age? Like in my family, neither of my parents did, but my grandparents had a history of cancer, and me getting diagnosed with it again. Is there a correlation between the two?
So, one is a hereditary predisposition, familial cancer predisposition syndromes. So, there are certain diseases that run in families which predispose the family to cancer. So, that is one. Again, as in your in your grandparents' case, for example, it depends when they got the cancer, what type of cancer it was.
Okay.
So that's very important. Like we had a family recently where when they came to me, there was nobody in the family
Okay.
with cancer, but the child's cancer was a very different type of cancer. So and it didn't have a very good prognosis. Then even while we were treating the child, turns out that the Bua got cancer, a distant cousin got cancer, and we didn't have tests when we diagnosed
Yeah.
you, but now we have a lot of tests that can tell us that yeah, this is likely to be a problem.
Right. And how often does this happen when there is no history of cancer in the family, but somehow there is one child that
Oh,
comes
that
out
happens all the time.
all the time?
That happens all the time.
And how do you deal with such cases in terms of the emotional aspect? Because I'm sure that the parents must have been very, very confused, because that's not where your brain ever goes to. It's a very different headspace altogether.
Yeah, yeah. So most parents, they don't accept it. I mean, they cannot process only,
Yeah.
and it's nothing. They've never gone down the path before. As you said, nobody in the family. They have no clue.
Yeah.
They've never been to the hospital. These are young parents who've just started out their life. They're making careers. They don't have money also. So that is
Yeah.
another very big issue because they are young parents. So everything gets together. We have to sit with them and just talk to them, explain to them that it is possible, it is curable, we can help, and the child will do well. Lot of queries in their brain, starting from why it happened, why my child, will the child get all right, will the child be able to tolerate chemotherapy? And yeah, they tolerate it very well. In fact, they're very resilient children. So they do manage better than adults.
Oh,
Yeah. And children don't have the comorbidities that adults have. Like
right.
adults have diabetes, hypertension, 10 drugs that they take. Children are very clean. Though
Yeah.
they're very innocent. Their diseases are also innocent. Though they do quite well, in fact. We have excellent drugs for nausea, vomiting. So very few children really even end up having nausea, vomiting. So that way it's doing better. Financial problems, we help them with different, charitable organizations. So luckily in India, we have something for everyone.
Right.
So people who can't afford, there are government hospitals. People who can manage corporate hospitals, we have that as well.
Right.
The real problem, Janvi, is in the middle class parents. They can't go to a government hospital. They can't afford a corporate
Corporate
hospital.
hospital, yes.
So that is really that middle class or upper middle class or whatever. It's a big problem for them. But I know for certain and I know for a fact that once they start treating, कुछ ना कुछ हो ही जाता है.
Yeah.
So even for poorer patients who want to get treated at like Lilavati, for example, because I work there,
Yeah.
there are different ways. The government has ensured, that they have these. Each hospital has to do an X amount of charitable work. So they give you full free treatment. They may give you partial treatment depending upon the ration card.
Okay.
So you need to get the Tehsildar's signature and all,
Right.
family income certificate, etc. So that is also possible. And now with crowdfunding, lot of families have benefited from those kind
Right.
of approaches as well.
So you mentioned a few questions ago that cancer in children is highly curable, right?
Yes, yes.
Can you explain this further in a way that we all understand? Try to maybe dumb it down a little bit.
So it's highly curable because these are very different diseases. They are biologically different
Okay.
from the adult diseases.
Okay.
As I said, they don't have comorbidities.
Right.
That means they don't have other illnesses. So it's easier to treat them. Children are able to withstand chemo better. And I think it's the positivity also that they just, you ask any child even before coming to the hospital, "Ghari kadi janar?" That's the first question they will ask. Even if they're in pain or they are serious, that is not their problem. That is your problem. So that way, and especially leukemias, for those are the commonest cancers that we see in childhood. And with good medicines, with so many advances that have happened over the years, and I have personally witnessed all that. So I feel very happy that, I've kind of seen so much in the last 25 years. So it's everything. It's right from laboratory expertise, diagnostic expertise, the way we administer chemotherapy, the way we have excellent supportive care, which has evolved over the last couple of decades. Supportive care even blood, for instance.
Right.
So now we have irradiated blood products. We can just give STP, single donor platelets versus so many different donors. Small things like that, they all add up. We have better and better drugs. We are now looking at I mean, it's too early, but we are looking at very simpler drugs uh, where maybe couple of time, I mean, I can't predict, but you'll say, okay, chemotherapy dete the, wo kya tha? You know, that kind of
Right.
thing. So it has been it's been an awesome journey. All that contributing to better outcomes.
Right. And I think I feel like over the years, it's become very evident that we have come far, because I still have sort of kept up with stories of current child survivors, and somehow their stories are a little bit more just easier in here, because I think most of the agony back then, even with my parents, came from the fact that everything was just so difficult. There was lack of awareness with everything. So I think that's definitely changed over the years.
Yeah, it has.
So I want to know when the first time you would
May I
get.
just
Yeah.
interrupt you?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
in 1960s, for example, when
Okay.
it was uniformly fatal, like
Okay.
childhood leukemia, let's say,
Okay.
or maybe the 50s, okay. And Swaraj Paul, he's a
Yeah.
very well-known businessman in the UK. He actually went there with his daughter to find a cure for her illness. She didn't survive at that time, so the zoo opposite the hospital is named after her.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that is where she used to go to.
Oh.
It's so sweet, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then we had when I was a kid. Let me see, Akhiyon ke Jharoko se, हाँ, where Ranjita was the protagonist, and
Yeah.
then she passes away to blood cancer, some form of cancer, and then came that other Sanjay Dutt wala film. I forget the name, with where they did a bone marrow transplant also.
Oh, wow.
And Khushbu, I think, was the
Yeah.
actress.
Bollywood really got it in.
Yeah. And then I think Love Story by Eric Segal was
Yeah.
also like the
Yeah.
girl had cancer.
Yeah.
It's my favorite music. I mean, I just love it.
Have you like purposely kept up with movies and
No.
why does
So
it seem like
I say all this in jest, but that's actually the history of cancers.
right?
And then we have Barbara, the one with Hrithik Roshan. So
No
she's
idea.
also a childhood
Okay.
cancer survivor, and she has acted in movies.
Oh.
So it has, like, you look at the
Yeah.
graph. Forget the scientific graphs that we see in journals. This
This
graph
is
is
div.
there, right there.
So coming back to just you said that when for most of your cases there are a lot of young parents who go through this. So what are some of the preventive steps that families can probably just follow to ensure that this doesn't happen? Is there any way?
So, well, because as I said, it's a biological
Right.
accident. You can't
Yeah.
prevent that. But I would definitely say that you just don't do things which are not supposed to be done, like smoking or whatever. But really, nothing more than
Nothing,
that.
right?
No, nothing. If you do have a history of cancers in the family, or there are diseases in the family which run in the family, which predispose as part of the syndrome to cancers, in that case, I suggest that they can have regular follow up, so that we know that if it's happening, you catch it early.
Right.
That's the most
One of the questions I get asked by my close friends is, "Oh, if you've had it, will your child also have it?"
no.
And all my life, mom has told me that it won't, because she's never given me the scientific aspect of things, and I've been like, no, I've been told that it won't, but I want to ask you today, how does that work?
So there are two things. One is genetic, and one is inheritable.
Okay.
Inheritable means you pass it on to the child. So cancers, unless it's the family predisposition, familial cancer predisposition syndrome, where you may pass on the faulty gene, like you perhaps have heard of BRCA gene. Okay, thanks again to Angelina Jolie. So it just makes things
I
easier
love
for
this.
people to relate to
Yeah.
it. So those are inheritable genes.
Right.
So that's different. But this is a mutation. हो गया.
Okay.
Finished. It
Right.
won't. No.
I remember hearing this story, I think from you only when we met a couple of years ago, where you said that I would constantly say things like, oh, there's a fish going all over me. So I think hallucinations are a part of the treatment, right?
No, 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 no.
No?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what. When we do procedures like bone marrow, lumbar puncture, they are painful.
Okay.
Painful both for the doctor as well as the child. And when
Okay.
the child cries, hell breaks loose. Like, we are also humans. And residents also, like, they also, like, you feel
Right.
bad.
Yeah.
Parents also feel bad. So there's too much collective crying. So,
It's funny now.
ever since your time, like pehle to we used to do it without anesthesia.
Oh,
But after training at St. Jude, I realized that over there, all children, they got a very short sedative, okay, a short acting anesthesia, and they were in and out of anesthesia. So the children didn't remember. There was no anxiety, there was no trauma,
right.
and no memory of the pain either. So for you, we used to give you ketamine midazolam, which was a little primitive now,
Okay.
considering that
Yeah.
we've moved on. That's why you used to get it with ketamine. It's a known thing.
Okay.
So our treatment room, as you remember, perhaps was next to the window where you could
Yeah.
overlook the sea,
Oh,
and that's why you used to feel that there are fish all over you.
all right.
So no, hallucinations is not
So
part
the
of the
medicine
treatment.
is.
Yeah.
And does that still happen in what we have for kids today? Is that the same
No,
case?
we
No.
give different
Okay.
drugs. Sometimes if you're just going to use, it just depends, from child to child
Right.
also. Plus now we have way more know-how and way more expertise, and yeah, we have evolved.
Clearly. So tell me something. What are some of, I know that even though we may have evolved and treatment has come so far, what are some other side effects that still maybe persist that parents need to look out for when they're in the process of having their child treated today?
Okay, so you're talking of long-term side effects.
Both, maybe.
Okay. So during the chemotherapy, let's break it down. During the chemotherapy, the side effects will depend upon the drug that we are using.
Okay.
Like some of the drugs will be emetogenic, means they will cause vomiting. So your doctor will basically look out for that, and adequate medications will be given. Um, um, Almost all the chemotherapy drugs hit out at the normal cells as well as the cancer cells. So we cannot select as of now in the chemotherapy that we are using that I want to selectively kill the cancer cells. It is now possible, but we are for what we call as targeted therapy. So that searches out or identifies only the cancer cells and then kills them. So the new thing that we have is the CAR T therapy or the blinatumomab that we are using. These are highly specific targeted chemotherapy where it will seek out the cancer cells and kill them.
Okay.
Okay, by affecting the normal cells lesser. Okay, but in the chemotherapy that we are talking about, it will harm both the good cells as well as the bad cells. So rapidly dividing cells like the hair follicles in the mouth, the entire GI tract, the mucosal lining that lines the mouth as well as the GI tract, the bone marrow cells, these are rapidly dividing cells. So these get affected the most. And when the WPCs, the platelets, uh, they also get affected, the child has a very high risk of infections. So we're very worried about infections.
Right.
Because if you don't have, let us say, Indian Army is not there, and we have our neighbors walking over us. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be disastrous. So if the army is not there, or if it is weak, then we'll have very bad consequences.
Yeah.
So also during chemotherapy, when our army, the WBCs are not there, or they are weakened because of chemotherapy, in that case, the children are sitting ducks for infection. So we insist on hand washing, on hygiene, on the food that we give to the children, etc. Yeah, and at the earliest sign of fever, they have to rush the child to the hospital so that we can give
Okay.
adequate antibiotics
Right.
and treatment.
So something we touched upon somewhere along the line was about how a lot of parents are from the middle class, upper middle class, which even we are, most of
All of
us are,
yeah.
right? So, what happens when such set of parents end up with a child who's dealing with cancer? What is the help? Can you elaborate further on exactly what these parents need to do, both from the medical perspective and also from the financial help that they can seek out for?
So medical, I think we
Yeah,
spoke about most
yeah,
of it. The financial thing is that nobody plans for this
right,
kind of a thing. So Mediclaim as in any insurance is a good option. However, the insurance invariably doesn't cover this kind of
yeah,
cost. So, yeah, medical insurance is something that may be very useful. The other thing is generally family and friends, they all pitch in. And that's how they manage. And then, as we said, that we could approach donors. There are a lot of donors. That way,
okay,
Mumbai is a very kind city, very
yeah,
kind hearted. And there are so many trusts. You have Siddhi Vinayak Trust, you have Chief Minister's Trust, and lot of other,
and these trusts actually
they
help,
help.
right?
They help.
Okay,
And, chotu motu things also, they add up. And
right,
yeah, they ho jata hai. And the other thing, and this crowdfunding that we spoke about, one very, what should I say, when troubles come, they don't come in singlets.
yeah,
So it is just at that time that even the best of share brokers have had a bad time. There
yeah,
is recession, there has been a layoff, there has been a family issue, the brothers have separated. Means I have seen this over time that it doesn't come by itself. So it just comes together. But I guess at that time, you just have to be
yeah.
resilient. Yeah.
And I want to know, uh, when something like this happens, what kind of role do parents and siblings hold in the child's treatment apart from the financial help or whatever? What else can they do? Because I know that the medical aspect is taken care of by the doctors, the hospital. What else can you do?
So, first and foremost, parents need to heal themselves. So, they cannot give from a space of nothing, you see. So, they have to catch hold of themselves, sit themselves down, and decide that no, if I have to help the child, I have to be strong. So I know parents who turn to spirituality, parents who dig into, prayers and faith, and I think it works. I
Yeah.
mean, I know it works. I
Yeah.
won't say I think. So I know it works. Parents have to support the children, of course. I've seen all kinds of parents over the years. There are parents who are very protective of the children, and they will pamper them. I've seen parents who are like, no, this is what has to be done. So let's do it. Let's get done with it. And Baba, let's go home. So there are different kinds of people, different kinds of reactions to the same external stimulus. So I prefer the second one because I find they do way better.
Right.
And the children are happier. So that positivity and the strength that the parent can support, that can provide, is like it is unmatchable. Siblings, so it is a dicey role. Siblings, if they are younger, they have no clue only क्या हो रहा है ये. So that is out of the question. The older sibling or the others, who are older than the child, they may have two things. They might be very protective, very helpful, or otherwise they may become very resentful because they see that the parents are pouring in all their attention to this child who is ill and depriving the other child of the attention and the love, etc. And this is where I find grandparents play a huge role because they support not only the affected parents but even the other sibling. They also play a very loving role, and from their sheer wisdom of years and their spirituality, etc., that they are very firm rocks. So I feel that grandparents and the extended family system of India is very good. They might fight till, for whatever reason. But when
I
a
know.
child is in
Yeah.
and when they need help, oh boy, they will
Yeah.
rally around the family. So I think that way we are privileged.
And what is the post treatment care that comes in both for the patient, the medical aspect, and what do you usually tell the parents, because they also lose that many years of treatment
Yeah.
in just being there for the child?
Yeah, I must mention the role of counselors.
Okay.
Though in our country, if you say counselor, everybody says, no, I don't have any mental issues.
Oh yeah.
They don't understand that counseling is not about a mental issue. It's not a. I mean, now it is better. Everyone, they talk about depression at least, but पहले तो that was not even a done thing. ठीक है? So they I like to refer them to a counselor, not a psychiatrist. If you understand the
Yes.
difference.
Yes.
So a counselor just holds hands with
Yeah.
them, explains to them. So I feel that counseling, medical counseling, like we can talk to the parents, but we are also not trained counselors.
Yeah.
We can just talk from a place of empathy, whereas the counselors are trained to do it. So they are way better. So I think counseling should be a part of counseling the parents as well as the sibling, if there are any, because that really helps.
Right.
Uh, post treatment. So let's say for the parents, I always tell them that it's a very short period in a lifetime, 3 years, 4 years. Sometimes it's not, all stories don't end well. So we'll keep that aside.
Yeah.
So we are talking clearly
Yeah.
about the people who do well. So you can buck up and catch up, and वो आ ही जाता है. What is meant for you, you will get it, kind of thing. So that is all right. As far as the child is concerned, we do tell them to look out for a lot of things, but that is forgotten over time. But the general health measures that all children should be taking, that is what we do advise. Depending on the drugs that the doctor has used upfront, cardiac issues may come up later. Secondary malignancies, secondary to the drugs that we have given. So any illness, not to scare them, but any illness, you proactively go to a doctor
Right.
sooner rather than later. And there are a lot of aftercare, after chemotherapy and after care clinics. And it's a good thing to go there once in a while, so that at least you're in touch, you know what's happening, etc.
We're very close to wrapping this up. I do want to ask one more medical question. Um, Once a child has gone through their
Hey,
treatment,
1 minute. Before that, let me just tell you,
Yeah.
now that we have these genetic mutations and we are able to identify families, so if the family has a bad mutation, then all of them should follow up.
okay.
So you see that in case there is another member also of the family who is likely to, I won't say likely to get a cancer, but even stands a remote chance, then we keep them under surveillance. So that is very, very important because now we have the know-how. We didn't have it earlier.
Right.
So yeah.
So once, let's say, a child goes through their treatment, everything is done. What is the possibility of a relapse? Is there a possibility of a relapse? And how does that work? Do they, if in the future they do get cancer, maybe a different kind or the same one, is it because they've had it once before?
So, actually, this is a very, very complex question. So, we kind of divide the relapses by now we are looking at different cancers.
Okay.
So, Harika relapse rate, etc., will
Right.
vary. But if the child progresses while on treatment, then we just say it's a progressive cancer. If they relapse early after treatment, that means it's a difficult to treat kind of cancer. So the outcomes may be poorer. If they have it after a considerable period, so this timeline differs for different cancers. If they have a relapse um, after after a long time of the same disease, then it's easier to treat because it's
Okay.
come back after after a longer
So
time,
it's like a fresh start.
like a fresh start.
Understood.
Uh, Sometimes they have secondary malignancies, which come years later, and that is because of the chemotherapy, because of the drugs that we have given them upfront. So these are a different set of diseases. So, but let's say after 5 years or so, their chances of getting a malignancy is as good as mine,
Okay.
like the same malignancy.
Understood.
But then please understand it's
Yeah.
very different for every disease, what treatment you've received, what drugs you've received, and the timeline of the relapse.
So can I say there is, let's assume that everything is done years ago. So the chances of one getting cancer again are basically just your lifestyle and everything that you had to deal with during your chemo.
Not the lifestyle also. It's very clearly the drugs that we have
Okay.
given. Yeah. And now that we know that we have all these mutations, should you be or harboring one of those mutations, then it could be a different story. So it's a little general,
Yeah.
you know.
It's very multifactorial,
Yeah,
I think.
multifactorial. Yeah.
True. So just as a last question for the day, I want you to speak to some of the parents who may be in the situation that you saw my parents in years ago. What is a message of hope that you usually give your patients and could also help these set of parents?
So I'd just say that it's curable and this will pass. It is one of my favorite dialogues, and it's from Gone with the Wind. And the protagonist, Scarlett O'Hara, she's facing the toughest, part of her life, or the so-called toughest, because there were so many other tougher parts. And she would say, this too shall pass. Tomorrow is another day.
Awesome. So, this was a very interesting conversation, very intense. Something we've not touched upon yet on our channel. We've always stuck to very different topics. but we always knew that we wanted to get into this. So thank you so much for being on the show with me today. It's an absolute honor to be doing this. Thank you so much for all the information. I think it's going to help a lot of people on this page. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much for having me. And as I told you, I have a YouTube channel
Yes.
which is dedicated for parents all across the world.
I will link all of that in the
Yeah.
description. I think they'd love to know you.
It'll be very useful, and I just make it because for precisely this thing that you help
Yeah.
people wherever they are.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. If you've made it this far, I will leave a link to more about Dr. Swati in the description, so don't forget to check that out. We're coming up with so many new episodes on different topics, unwrapping different stories, different films, different songs. So stay tuned for all of that, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.